What's up, guys? Today I'm going to test out a few boards and see what skates better, big wheels or small wheels. So I've got small wheels. I'm going to try to roll and do a kickflip on the roughest ground ever. Okay, so I've been skating some big wheels and I've been skating some small wheels, and I'm going to compare them. So obviously the first thing is big wheels are faster. You know, big wheels can roll over stuff. So if you're skating really rough ground, you're probably gonna want to skate bigger wheels. There's definitely a difference between the smooth surface of a skate park and the rough feeling of street skating. Somebody who does a lot of street skating is probably gonna want to have a little bit bigger wheel than somebody who only skates in the skate park. Just watch how much I slow down when I'm going from the smooth skate park to the rough parking lot. So if you're doing a lot of street skating, I would probably go with something kind of in the middle, but also towards the bigger side, like 53s or 54s, and I would change my wheels out a little bit more. If they get worn down and they get really small, like 48s or something like that, it's time to change wheels, because if you hit a pebble or anything like that, it's gonna stop, it's gonna throw you if you have a smaller wheel. A bigger wheel is gonna be able to roll over that rough stuff that you find when you're street skating. Smaller wheels are lighter, so they're actually better for flip tricks. If you want to do something really technical, you might want to have a smaller wheel, especially if you're skating a skate park, a really smooth skate park, because you're not going to need that bigger wheel, so that's just a little bit added weight. Also, if you have a smaller wheel, you feel closer to the ground, so you feel a little more comfortable on your board, landing on your board, because you don't have this huge wheel keeping you farther off the ground. It's also a little bit easier to avoid landing primo when you have a small wheel. The board is going to actually flip faster with a smaller wheel because it's lighter. It's going to flip a little bit easier. That's why in the 90s they went down to 48 millimeter wheels. The rainbow colored wheels in this video are 48 millimeter wheels from OJ wheels. I actually bought them a few months ago. I was going to do a video on them, and then I saw that Braille did a video on them yesterday. So now I'm recording this, and I'm going to do kind of a big wheels versus small wheels instead of doing a video just on this particular wheel. The bigger wheels that I'm using in this video are Bones. They're either 54s or 53s, somewhere in there, and they're new. The other small wheels I'm using in this video are also Bones. They're the same wheel, but I've been skating those for a while, so they're as small as the 48 millimeter OJs, just because I've kind of worn them down. You know, it takes me about a month to wear down wheels to that small of a size. I guess I do a lot of power slides just to slow down, and that's what wears your wheels down. Or if you slide your tricks when you're doing big spins or 180s, that's going to wear down your wheel, make it smaller over time. I didn't really do a power slide for this video, but I'll probably do a how to power slide video soon, so check that out. So the small wheel will spin faster, but a big wheel actually gives you a little more pop. So you have a little more speed and a little more pop, so you might be able to do the same tricks. So if you're one of those guys that really likes to go fast and pop your trick, you might want a bigger wheel. If you are a gap skater, if you skate stairs, you are going to want a bigger wheel because you're going to go fast, you're going to commit, jump down stuff, and if you hit a pebble, you will fall if you have a small wheel. It's going to be a lot harder to land stairs with small wheels. So if you like to skate stairs, go with like 53s or above. If you're like Jaws or Corey Duffel and you skate huge stuff and you go fast, you're going to want a big wheel. If you like technical skating, you don't want to roll so fast, but you want to flip your board and manipulate it in different ways, then you might want to go with a smaller wheel, 51, 50s, 49, something a little bit smaller that's going to flip a little bit easier. So the reason people skated small wheels in the 90s is because they liked to switch from one grind to another while they were skating ledges. They would do a nose slide and then pop it up into a crook. If you like to skate rails and you want to slide your tricks into different tricks, you might want a smaller wheel. But if you want to stay locked in, if you want to do a 50-50 down a rail or a 5-0, you're going to want a bigger wheel because you've got that pocket. The rail's going to fit nicely into that pocket and it's going to hold you in the grind. You're not going to slip out and fall. If you have a smaller wheel, you've got a bigger chance of slipping out of a grind and falling. And if you're doing a 50-50 on a rail, you really don't want to slip out because you could land on your back on the rail or on your back on the ground. With these close-ups, you can really see how that bigger wheel keeps you from falling off of the rail. So this is one of those tricks that I really want to do a how-to video on soon because a lot of people want to know how to do 50-50s on rails. For just a straight manual, it's better to have a bigger wheel because you're going to roll faster and you're going to roll over cracks. If you want to do flip tricks into or out of a manual, in my opinion, it might be better to have a smaller wheel because it's going to flip a little faster and a little easier, and you don't get as much pop when you're trying to do a kickflip out of a manual. If you're skating ramps, it's the same thing as when you're skating rails. The bigger wheel is going to lock in better. So if you're doing 50-50s or 5-0s, you're not going to slide out with that bigger wheel. You're going to feel locked in to the coping. The bigger wheel is also going to go faster, which is definitely better for skating ramps. You don't want a wheel that's going really slow because you're going to have to put so much energy into pumping on the ramp. You don't want to think about pumping. You want to think about your tricks and be able to go into them smoothly. So faster is better when you're skating ramps. So yeah guys, it just depends on the trick. I definitely don't like going slow, and I like feeling locked in when I'm on the coping. So the big wheels are great for the security of feeling locked in. The only thing is, I don't like being really high off the ground. I want my trucks to be kind of low, my wheels to be kind of small, so I feel a little more comfortable. You know, if you're not as far off the ground, you definitely feel more comfortable on the ramp when you're doing certain tricks like over crooks or blunts. You don't want to land on something that's so far off the ground because it's just scarier. It's not as easy to land on something that's way far off the ground. That's why people stopped using riser pads. There, that's another point. Wheel bite. It's way easier to get wheel bite with a big wheel, especially if you have loose trucks. So you have to think about that. You don't want to use riser pads. You don't want to be way off the ground. So you want a wheel that's small enough that you're not going to get wheel bite if you like loose trucks. I skate pretty loose trucks, so that's another reason I usually go with a smaller wheel, or at least use my wheels for longer so they wear down and get smaller, because I don't like getting wheel bite. You know, you can wax under your wheels, but it can really stop you in the middle of a trick. If you land and your trucks are loose, you lean over and your wheel touches the board, it can instantly stop you. So if you like skating tight trucks, you might be able to get away with having a little bit bigger wheel. But if you like skating loose trucks, it might be harder to avoid wheel bite. The big wheels are a little bit easier on your feet. They take out a little bit of the vibrations from the ground. I feel like I get a little more pop on a board with bigger wheels just because the distance between the tail and the ground is greater, so you have a little more force that's going down and popping the board. It just seems to pop a little bit higher because it's moving faster as well. So if you like to do your tricks high, you're going to want big wheels. If you like to do really low tricks that flip a lot, you're going to want the small wheels. If you want to do a double flip slow, get the small wheels. If you want to do a single flip but a little bit higher, use the bigger wheels. So if we get down close, it's kind of easy to see why bigger wheels might be better for mini ramp skating. So you really need to lock into the coping for certain grinds. if the board slips out, you're gonna be going into a completely different trick. So if you're trying to do a Smith and those wheels just slide right off the coping because they're so small, they can't really lock in, you're gonna be going into a lip slide. If you're not prepared to go into a lip slide, you're gonna slide out and fall possibly on your back on the coping. All right, so I'm putting the same amount of force on the bigger wheel and it's actually not sliding off just because it's a little bit bigger and it can really lock into the coping. You've got a little pocket right here where you can stick the coping and you're gonna be able to hold those Smiths and those feeble grinds a little bit better with a bigger wheel. Hey man, that was a good line. What size wheels are those?
Those are pretty big, the 58s on there.
You think you could do that same line with 48 millimeter wheels?
Probably not. I'll give it a go. What size deck is this?
That is 8 1/4. It's hard to skate a board that you're not used to, like a whole setup that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Big wheels, for sure. Big wheels.
Big wheels.
Big wheels.
So I was just in Harrodsburg and all the country guys said big wheels were better than small wheels. What's better?
I would say like medium.
Medium sized wheels. What size is medium?
Like
Is your board?
yeah, these are like 53s and gnawed down to like 51s maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think 51s, 50s,
Yeah.
52, somewhere in there is pretty good. What would you say about these wheels?
Those would probably, I don't know. It kind of just depends on whatever you're skating, really.
I really like these wheels for like flip tricks, like 360 flips on flat, but they don't give me a lot of pop for doing like frontside 180s if I want to do it over something, because you don't have as much distance there between the wheels, for the board to snap.
True.
And they don't lock in as good for the mini ramp,
Yeah.
and they're not as fast.
Yeah. You'd
But-
think they would be, but they're not.
So there you go. It really just depends on what kind of skateboarding you want to do. So sometimes big wheels are better if you're skating ramps or you want to really lock into your grinds, and sometimes small wheels are better if you want to do flip tricks or you want a lighter board. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've got some of my other videos coming up on the side. Check those out. Also, if you enjoy this kind of content, definitely subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.